Hello everyone, and I am back. Once again, I know the Optimus Prime video took a little longer than I thought. I mean, it's laziness. Originally, it was supposed to come out around like the time the movie came out, which was like September 20th. But that didn't happen. I do have it uploaded. I just need to get the thumbnail ready, and then we'll be good to go. But today's review will be on the Marvel Legends Retro Kingpin. Now, first of all, some housekeeping rules. Here's a figure. Now, there is actually two things. One, there is a reissue on this guy. So it's currently available at GameStop, and I think even at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link in the description. But even more, there is a new figure. Well, not a new thing. There was originally a review of this guy along with the Rhino, but I figured it was a more perfect time to really review this guy just because it got another release. And yeah, I'll leave the links down in the description for both my Canadian and American viewers. So yeah. All right, anyways, now moving on to the box of the figure. It is this ginormous retro carded box with everything, including the iconic retro logo, the Spider-Man retro font, Kingpin with the cane accessory. He looks a lot bigger here than he does here. Also, even more in the card, he actually has his like tuxedo is covering his entire body, while except like his neck a little bit, while as a Legends figure it doesn't, but we'll get into that. And then as we rotate it around, there's nothing really on the side, but there is a lot of bio stuff on the back, along with a lot of read-ups. So pause to read here about this. There we go. And then there's a lot of figures there's a lot of the other figures from this original wave, which kind of costs a lot now. But yeah, you could swap the head with the alternate head there. And then you have Green Goblin, Daredevil, Electro, and stuff like that. I actually do have this Green Goblin. And would have been rare until Hasbro reissued it, which is good because I think it's not a bad Green Goblin. But anyway, so moving on to the figure itself. Give me a moment. Originally, I really wanted this Kingpin for a decent while, and this was mainly due to Hawkeye and the fact that, Kingpin appears in that show. So I, got the Kingpin. Of course, I don't have a Daredevil to go alongside him, but at the time, he was pretty pricey, and at the time, it was kind of rare. I don't know how much I got him at. It was like $40, but yeah, it was a really good deal, I say, for a kind of big figure. Now, of course, as I mentioned in the beginning, there is a second release, a reissue of this guy, which is awesome. Now, that really begs the question to whether or not this is really worth picking up again, especially since this came out 4 years ago. So yeah, in this review, I will discuss and point out all the things about this figure, starting off with the painting and the sculpting. And now, starting off with the painting and the sculpting of this figure, I think the painting is really good, and it really is an upgrade per se to what, the Build-A-Figure was. Now, before I say anything, sorry, I had to turn off my phone. This is a repaint. This is a repaint of the Build-A-Figure from 2018. Now, originally this was a fan channel exclusive, so it was only available on online retailers. I'm assuming, at least to my knowledge, although I think a few comic book shops were able to get it. But yeah, there it is, and it has a few upgrades compared to the original, which I'm gonna put up screen right here. Starting off with let me just move his arms. Starting off with his head. Originally, his head it was not bad, it was good, but I feel like this one was a lot better. Because of Hasbro's new, digital technology, it actually looks better. It looks like an actual person, and it looks really nice. I really like the wrinkles on the hair. I really like the wrinkles. I really like what they did with the eyes. It looks very, very nice. Very normal expression for Kingpin. And it's not just some simple reuse. No, it is a brand new sculpt, which is, excuse me, so nice. The fact it's not just some, like, it's the same thing. Ultimately, for me, it makes it at least a little bit better than that of the original. And another thing, too, is the arms. Not really a lot of, detail in terms of sculpt, other than the fact there's a few buttons. Although I do wish they were painted instead of just like this. But I do like this, this white. I do like the white, and I do like the fact it's separated by the orange and blue. Although I don't know if the blue collar is supposed to be that big compared to the card. But yeah, it looks really good. I love the detail, like the buttons and everything. Although I wish there was maybe a little bit more, because it kind of gets lost in the sculpt. The only sense of color you get is whatever this is. It looks like there's like an envelope here. But yeah, it looks really good. And there's a lot more detail on the inside. And if I just remove the arms, and yes, again, this was a Build-A-Figure, you can see there is so much more detail. And it's like an underlay or something like that. I don't know what type of outfit it is, but it looks really good. Now, the only problem I have with the tuxedo is the fact that it is getting something on it. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of disgusting. There's some dents and everything, and it looks absolutely nasty. So, excuse me for a moment as I reassemble this guy. Sorry for the cut off there, but I had to just reassemble him. So yeah, very nicely sculpted. I even like, I don't know if this was on the original figure, but I even like there's a little ring there. I think that's like a ring meant for like any like key card or anything like that. But it looks really nice. And I really like the detail again with the hands. Very, very nicely sculpted. Nice little subtle veins, if you could see there. And they're just really cool. Moving forward to the pants, and they're basically a light purple. In the original Build-A-Figure, they were more of a white. I'll show it up on screen here. Looks very plain looking, and I know there's I feel like a few outfits where Kingpin is like this. He is very much, just wearing all white with a few bits and pieces of black, and I think even the collar on the Build-A-Figure was purple. But I don't really care for it because it just looks so plain. Compared to this thing looks better. There's a lot more purple. There's a lot more color to it, and it looks nice. I even like the black on the shoes. Very nicely detailed and very nicely sculpted. Very stylish, I will say that. And I do like it. I like it a lot. I very much like what they did with the shoelaces. Everything on it is nice. I like the pattern texture they did with the pants. It overall looks very good. So yeah, in terms of paint, it's a very good figure. Now in terms of sculpting, it's kind of underwhelming. But for a character that's meant to just be wearing a suit, it makes just a suit every single day. It makes sense, It's a big guy, and honestly, I don't mind him. He's a very cool, very, very cool, figure in terms of that paint and sculpt. Now, what's also kind of neat, but also kind of underwhelming, is the accessories. We do get an alternate head here for Kingpin, and in my opinion, it looks a lot better, especially in other scenes. Now, my only problem is that occasionally he looks a little cross-eyed, but overall, I like this a lot more than the previous head sculpt. It's not like just weirdly, although then again, it looks a little weird, but it looks really nice. I like there's a little vein up top. There's veins on the sides of his inside of his head, and then he's just flat, and there's like a black eye. There's scratches on his lip, on his cheek, on his nose, on the top of his eyebrows. It just looks great. And to simply head swap them is really easy. Like in the box, you just simply bada bing, bada boom. And boom. Looks very good. And he looks like he's been through a lot of pain. Now, let me just swap this back. Moving forward, he also has a cane, which is good. But unfortunately it is bent, and it's a shame that it's just this really weird plastic that feels like it could break, but also at the same time bend. Now, he can hold it like this, but mine has, and I feel like this also happened with the original and the rest of the other copies of this figure, it doesn't really sit very tightly there. I don't know. Also, I've been noticing the Kingpin is just falling. Excuse me, but yeah, it looks really good. I like the crystal effect, or the diamond effect. But, you know, I feel like people are just going to pose it like this. But again, the main problem is the fact it just kind of sits there. And another problem for me is I wish he came with some alternate hands and just one relaxed-ish hand that also works as a gripping hand and then a fist hand. I wish he came with like 2 fists and 2 relaxed hands. That way we could get some really expressive poses. But overall, I think the accessories are not bad. You know, and for a little mock-up, I don't know whose idea was it, but I remember seeing this before. You take off the arms, take off the tuxedo, and then you put the arms on, and it looks like he's kind of ready for battle in a sense. Like when he's fighting Daredevil, he's probably wearing, hold on, let me off camera for a bit, because his arm's a little loose, but yeah. He's very much like this, and then to spice it up even more, he has the battle damaged head. Looks like he's been through a lot. I don't really have any Daredevil figures. I do have a Punisher figure to go alongside him, but yeah, it's very good. So yeah, overall, in terms of painting, it's a very good figure. Accessory-wise, it's a little underwhelming. Sculpt-wise, it's definitely a little but I mean, for what they're able to do with a giant character, it's pretty good. I'd say he scales really well, and in terms of sculpt, it really shows the size of this guy. So yeah, it's a very, very good figure in terms of those. Now, let's go over articulation. Now, I think articulation for this guy is more of this guy's problem, as it's kind of limited compared to the Toy Biz figure, which came with like butterfly joints, I think, toe joints, finger articulation, but what you get is not bad. You know, he's a big character, so it makes sense that he doesn't really have this much articulation. So he has a disc hinge instead of a double ball joint, so he can look up this far, and not really that much down, just due to this collar. He can't really tilt, but he can look around. He can't tilt side to side. He can do a 360 at the arm, and there is a in and out. There is no bicep swivel, which is kind of a shame. He just has a forearm swivel with a single jointed elbow. Kind of a shame. And then he has a hinge jointed wrist. I forgot to mention, there is a bit of black there. Don't rely on me, kids, but anyways. I do really like the hand articulation. Very much poseable, but it can't really get him into a good pose like that, like he's cracking his knuckles. And would you look at that, his arm popped off again. Not that much diaphragm articulation. You could force it, but that's all you're gonna get. You can go back about that far. There is a swivel at the arm, at the whole like diaphragm, but yeah. Then he can kick up all right, I guess. Not that much back. There is a good amount of spread. There is a thigh swivel, and there is a single jointed knee, which is kind of tight on mine. Yeah. And there is ankle articulation, such as going here, and then he can tilt and pivot up like that. Unfortunately, mine does this. The feet peg pops off, so either I have to shave this or I'm going to put some nail polish on it. Probably nail polish, as it's just a peg and not, something else, but yeah. Kind of disappointing. So yeah, articulation is not the greatest, but you can get some decent poses. And I feel like I might do a photo session with this guy. Not too much though, but I will do a photo session. So yeah, he's not the greatest, but he is very, very good. You know, you can get some decent poses and stuff like that. Now, let's move on to the size comparison. Unfortunately, I don't have a ruler, but I can confirm he is a big boy. Comparatively to other legends, he's not as tall as, let's say, like the movie Carnage, but he is a pretty big and beefy boy. Now, as for some comparison, here he is compared to the retro Hammerhead and the retro Shocker. Yeah, I know, that's a bit cringy, but he scales really well with them. He's a big guy, so it makes sense. I'm really curious how he would scale with Tombstone. I don't have Tombstone, and who knows, maybe I should get him when he's on sale. Ooh. But, as for another comparison, here he is compared to a retro Spidey, specifically the symbiote suit, and oh boy. Oh no. If you read one of the comics, you know where this is going. I'll put it up on the screen right now. Finally, here he is compared to Tom Holland's Spidey and the John Bernthal Punisher. Obviously, I feel like Vincent D'Onofrio would be like this size. He'd be definitely taller than Tom Holland, but he would be and Tom Holland, but we'd probably be a little bit taller than Bernthal. But yeah, very good comparison, and I really hope that Spider-Man fights Kingpin in the future, but judging by the recent leaks and rumors, I very highly doubt that. Now, overall, is this figure worth buying in 2024? I definitely say so. I don't know whether or not, Hasbro's gonna ever make a new one. I mean, the closest one that's new was the very scrawny Hawkeye version from if I remember correctly, it was the pretty, in my opinion, mediocre wave of the Hydra Stomper from What If, and that figure was too scrawny, and I feel like this is one of the very few Kingpins that's worth buying. I mean, the Toy Biz one is great, but he just looks so off to me, like proportionally he is off, and generally I feel like most Toy Biz figures are kind of off looking, especially when it's like the big guys. So overall, in terms of like figures compared to back then, it's for me an upgrade. I don't have the Toy Biz ones, but I do prefer this one over the Toy Biz or any of the older ones. I don't know if Marvel Select ever made a Kingpin figure, but honestly, this is probably the best we're ever going to get. And I honestly highly recommend you just get this one instead of getting the Build-A-Figure, just because the Build-A-Figure is a lot older. And in my opinion, there are some things I don't really like about it. I don't really care for the all-white aesthetic. And I don't really like the head sculpts compared to the retro head sculpts. So yeah, overall, it is definitely worth buying. I don't know, and especially since I don't know whether or not Hasbro is going to ever make a new one, I think it's definitely worth the purchase for about like $40 or so. So I'm going to give him a solid, maybe a solid 8.5, maybe solid 8. He's not bad. He's a very good figure, but I definitely wouldn't be paying like very full price for him, and I definitely recommend you just get the reissue. Currently, he's out again at GameStops. I think even Big Bad Toy Store has him in stock, but yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on that. Until then, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, and I will do a October sort of video schedule. First, with the first figure, which I'm going to tease to you right here, the Marvel Legends Venom Let There Be Carnage. I will plan that soon enough, and I will actually probably upload that and have it scheduled for Venom 3's release. Maybe get an algorithm thing going on. Maybe it'll get more views because of the Venom movie, but I don't know. Till then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.